Welcome to Glisso English. Real life stories.
Imagine this. You're at work, doing your best, when suddenly a customer starts yelling at you. Every word cuts deeper, and your manager does nothing. You feel trapped, humiliated, and unsure what to do next. In this story, we follow a retail worker facing a toxic shift, learning how to handle anger, stress, and unfair treatment at work. Along the way, you'll hear real-life English phrases for dealing with customers, coworkers, and managers, helping you improve your listening, speaking, and vocabulary skills in practical situations. Will they quit or stand their ground? Watch, listen, and learn how to respond confidently in tough workplace moments. Alex pushed open the sliding doors of the store, the usual hum of fluorescent lights greeting them like an old friend. It was Monday, the start of another busy week, and the schedule looked full. Customers would start trickling in any minute. "Morning, Alex," said Maria, one of the coworkers, stacking the shelves with practiced precision. "Morning," Alex replied, forcing a smile. Some days, the store felt like a second home. Other days, it felt like walking into a storm. Today, it felt ordinary. Alex checked the inventory list behind the counter. Nothing seemed off. Nothing except the quiet unease that had been growing ever since the last week's late-night shift. They shook it off and headed to the floor, greeting the first customers with a friendly, automatic smile. "Hi, can I help you find anything?" Some smiled back politely, others wandered silently, glancing at items without speaking. Alex moved through the aisles, restocking where needed, noticing the small things: a slightly crooked display, a price tag half off, the faint smell of cleaning spray still lingering from opening hours. Mr. Thompson, the manager, hovered near the register, watching quietly. He didn't speak unless necessary, and Alex wasn't sure if he liked being efficient or simply detached. Either way, Alex had learned long ago not to wait for approval for every little decision. By mid-morning, the store was steadily filling up. Alex adjusted a rack of shirts and muttered to themselves, "Okay, just a normal shift. Keep it together." But normal shifts could be deceptive. Behind the calm, Alex sensed a tension building, a tension that would soon explode in ways they weren't prepared for. By mid-morning, the store had started to fill with customers. The soft hum of conversation, the occasional beep of the register, and the shuffle of shoes on the polished floor created a rhythm that Alex had learned to move with. It was familiar, almost comforting, until it wasn't. A man stormed into the store, his face red and tense, holding a crumpled shirt in one hand. He marched straight to Alex, his voice sharp before he even made eye contact. "This shirt," he barked. "I bought it yesterday and it's ruined. I want my money back now." Alex froze for a split second, not out of fear, but because of the sudden intensity. Then, forcing a calm tone, they said, "Okay, let me take a look. I'm happy to help you." The man threw the shirt onto the counter, smearing a faint stain across the surface. Alex examined it carefully, aware of the small crowd forming around them. A few customers glanced over, frowning at the tension. "I see the stain," Alex said softly. "I'm really sorry about this. Our policy allows exchanges or store credit. Would you like to choose a replacement?" The man slammed his hand on the counter. "I don't want a replacement. I want my money back. You people are useless." Alex swallowed, feeling their stomach tighten. They glanced toward Mr. Thompson, the manager, hoping for a supportive word, a small intervention. Nothing. He was standing a few feet away, pretending to scan a price tag, indifferent. Alex forced themselves to breathe slowly. Keep calm, stay professional, don't give him a reason to escalate further. "I understand," Alex said, voice firm but respectful.
I want to help you, but I can only offer a store credit or exchange. If you'd like, I can help you pick another shirt that works better for you." The man's face contracted with frustration, his voice rising. "This is ridiculous. You call this service? I'll never come back here." Alex felt a flush of heat creep up her neck. The words stung, but they stood their ground. "I can't let him control me. I won't lose myself over this." After a tense minute, the man muttered something under his breath, snatched the voucher Alex offered, and stormed out of the store. The small crowd of onlookers returned to browsing, pretending nothing had happened. Alex exhaled, rubbing her temples, feeling the adrenaline ebb slowly. Mr. Thompson finally spoke, glancing briefly at Alex. "Handled it, I see." His tone wasn't praise, it was neutral, almost dismissive. Alex forced a smile. "Yes, it's fine." But inside they felt exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally. It wasn't just the customer, it was the silence from management, the weight of responsibility without support. As Alex returned to their duties, they tried to shake off the tension. "It's just one difficult customer," they thought. "I can handle this. I always handle this." But deep down, Alex knew this shift wasn't going to end with just one challenge. The storm was only beginning, and the real test was yet to come.
By early afternoon, the store had grown even busier. Alex moved through the aisles like a carefully choreographed dance, stocking shelves, straightening displays, answering polite customer questions, but the earlier encounter with the angry man still lingered in their mind. Then it happened. A new customer approached, a woman with sharp eyes and an impatient glare. She carried a basket full of items and immediately zeroed in on Alex. "Excuse me," she snapped, her voice cutting through the hum of the store. "I've been waiting forever for help. Can you do your job or what?" Alex froze for a heartbeat, stunned by the sudden hostility. Then they forced a calm smile and said, "I'm happy to help you. What can I assist you with?" The woman waved her hands dramatically, her voice rising. "With all these employees just standing around, I can't believe you're the only one working. Why isn't your manager helping?" Alex glanced toward Mr. Thompson, who was leaning against the register, scrolling on his phone. No reaction. Nothing. Alex's stomach sank. Not again. Not today. "I'm sorry for the wait," Alex said, keeping their voice steady. "I can help you right now. Which items do you need assistance with?" The woman scoffed loudly. "I've been asking, and this is ridiculous. Your store is a joke." She took a step closer, her anger palpable. Alex felt their hands shake slightly, but refused to step back. "I can't let her intimidate me. I need to stay calm." "Ma'am, I want to help," Alex said firmly. "I can't control how busy it is, but I will assist you immediately. Please, follow me." The woman huffed, but grudgingly followed. As they walked toward the aisle, she muttered under her breath, still scowling, throwing sarcastic comments over her shoulder. All the while, Alex could feel the eyes of other customers on them. Some were watching with sympathy, others with impatience. The stress in Alex's chest grew heavier. By the time the woman finally chose her items, Alex was drained. But the worst part wasn't over. As the customer marched to the counter, she started shouting again, louder this time, criticizing the store, the staff, and the terrible service. Alex looked toward Mr. Thompson. His gaze didn't meet theirs. He didn't say a word. He didn't even flinch. A wave of anger mixed with despair rose inside Alex. Why is he just standing there? Why am I the one taking all the abuse? For a moment, Alex considered saying nothing, giving up, walking away. But something inside them refused to yield. "I will not let her or him treat me like this. Not today." With a deep breath, Alex squared their shoulders, ready to confront the customer politely but firmly. The first test of standing their ground had arrived, and it was louder, meaner,
and more personal than anything they had faced before. After the shouting customer finally stormed out, Alex stood behind the counter, breathing heavily, their hands trembling slightly. Sweat prickled at their temples, not from the heat of the store, but from the adrenaline still coursing through their body. They looked toward Mr. Thompson. He was leaning casually against the register, scrolling on his phone, as if nothing had happened. No concern, no acknowledgement, nothing. Alex felt a wave of frustration rise. Why am I the only one taking the abuse? A coworker passed by, eyes downcast. "You okay?" she asked quietly. Alex nodded, but the truth was, they weren't. They had faced verbal attacks before, but today had felt different, personal, public, and worst of all, completely unsupported. Alex's thoughts raced. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe it's part of the job. But this feels wrong. Why isn't anyone stepping in? The store buzzed with activity around them, customers moving between aisles, oblivious to the tension at the counter. And still, the manager didn't speak. Finally, Alex walked up to him. "Mr. Thompson, I need to talk. That customer was yelling at me and no one intervened. I don't feel safe." He glanced up briefly, eyes flicking over Alex. "It's part of retail. You just have to handle it. Customers are always going to be difficult." Alex's jaw tightened. Just handle it? That's it? Their chest felt heavy, a mix of anger and disbelief. But she was screaming, right in front of other customers. "Look," Mr. Thompson interrupted, still casual. "You're strong enough. You handled it. That's all that matters." Alex stared at him, stunned. This wasn't leadership. This wasn't support. This was indifference. And in that moment, they realized something important. If they wanted respect, safety, or fairness, they couldn't rely on him. A quiet rage simmered inside. So what now? Quit? Stand my ground? The thought made their stomach twist. They had bills to pay, responsibilities, but they also had dignity, self-respect, and limits. As the shift dragged on, every interaction with customers felt heavier, every minor complaint a reminder that support wasn't coming. Alex began to weigh their options carefully. Maybe leaving isn't weakness. Maybe staying is strength, if I can set boundaries. But what if they push too far? The clock ticked toward the end of the shift, but for Alex, time felt suspended. The real challenge wasn't the customers, it was deciding how far they were willing to go and what kind of worker and person they wanted to be in a place that didn't have their back. That evening, Alex sat alone in the break room, nursing a lukewarm cup of coffee. The store had finally quieted down, the hum of fluorescent lights now almost soothing, but their mind raced. What am I doing here? Alex thought, staring at the streaked floor. Is this worth it? Every shift feels like walking into a battlefield. The memory of the yelling customer and the manager's indifferent stare replayed in their head like a broken video. Every harsh word, every mocking tone, every glance of the other customers, it weighed heavily. Alex rubbed their temples. I could quit. I could just walk out tonight and never come back. It would solve everything. I wouldn't have to face this again. But the thought brought no relief. Bills still had to be paid. Rent, groceries, life. Quitting was simple in theory, but impossible in practice, at least without consequences. Then another thought came, sharp and insistent. But if I stay, if I keep letting this happen, I'll hate myself. I'll let people treat me like I don't matter. I can't do that. Alex leaned back in their chair, staring at the peeling paint on the wall. They thought about all the little victories they had achieved, helping customers genuinely, solving problems, keeping a smile when the world seemed determined to be rude. Maybe it's not about leaving, maybe it's about standing my ground. But how? The more Alex thought, the clearer it became. Standing their ground didn't mean yelling back. It didn't mean losing control. It meant asserting themselves, setting limits, and demanding respect, even if that meant uncomfortable conversations with the manager or difficult customers. Still, doubt lingered. What if it backfires? What if they fire me? What if I make things worse? Alex sighed, a mix of exhaustion and determination. They knew there was no perfect choice. Every option had consequences. But the longer they waited, the more powerless they felt. Finally, they whispered to themselves, a quiet vow in the empty room. I have to try. I can't let this continue. I need to stand for myself. For the first time that day, Alex felt a flicker of control. The storm hadn't passed, and the battle wasn't over. But now, at least, they had chosen their path.
The next morning, Alex arrived early, hoping the quiet would give them a chance to think. The store smelled of coffee and polish, and a few coworkers were already preparing the shelves. Maria, the same coworker from the first shift, noticed the tense look on Alex's face. She had been through a few rough days herself and knew that look all too well. "You okay?" she asked quietly, stacking a row of sweaters. Alex hesitated. Usually they kept their feelings to themselves, but yesterday's storm still lingered in their chest. I don't know," they admitted. "It's just, yesterday was rough, and the manager, he didn't do anything." Maria nodded knowingly. "Yeah, I've seen it happen. He won't step in unless it's extreme. It's frustrating." Alex leaned against the counter. "I feel like I'm trapped. Customers screaming, no support. I'm not sure if I should just quit or try to handle it. I don't want to break down, but I also don't want to let them walk all over me." Maria sighed, pausing to consider her words. "Look, quitting is an option, sure, but sometimes standing your ground is worth it. You just need a plan, know exactly what you'll say and what you won't accept." Alex nodded slowly. "A plan. That makes sense. But what if he fires me? Or what if the customers just keep being terrible? Then at least you'll know you tried. You'll know you didn't let them treat you like that. And sometimes just asserting yourself makes a huge difference. You don't have to fight alone. Other coworkers will notice. You just have to be confident and clear." Alex thought about her words. Confidence, clarity, boundaries. It sounded simple in theory, but in practice it was terrifying. Still, the alternative, doing nothing, felt worse. "Thanks," Alex said finally. "I think I can try that. I need to figure out how to start." Maria smiled faintly. "Start small, one customer at a time, one conversation with the manager if needed. Don't let them push you past your limit, but don't let them walk all over you either." Alex felt a strange mix of fear and relief. For the first time in days, there was a plan, a direction. The storm hadn't passed, but maybe, just maybe, they could navigate it without losing themselves. As the store doors opened and the morning rush began, Alex squared their shoulders, took a deep breath, and whispered to themselves, "Today, I won't just survive. I'll stand my ground." The afternoon rush had begun, and the store was alive with the clatter of shopping carts, soft chatter, and the occasional beep of the cash register. Alex moved among the aisles with practiced efficiency, but their mind wasn't on restocking or organizing. It was on what could come next. They had spent the morning thinking, planning, rehearsing in their head how they would handle the next difficult customer. The memory of yesterday's screaming customer and the manager's inaction weighed heavily. "I can't let that happen again. I just can't." And then, it happened. A man stormed toward the counter, waving a receipt in one hand and an item in the other. His face was red with frustration. Alex felt that familiar pit in their stomach. But this time, they forced themselves to stand tall, shoulders back. "Excuse me," the man barked. "I bought this yesterday and it's not working. I want a refund, now!" Alex took a deep breath. This is it. This is the moment. "I understand," Alex said, keeping their voice calm but firm. "I want to help you. I can offer an exchange or store credit, but I cannot give a cash refund according to store policy. Let's find a solution together." The man's eyes narrowed. "I don't care about your policies. I want my money back or I'll make a scene." Alex paused, letting the words hang in the air. No flinching, no backing down. "I hear you," Alex said steadily, "but shouting won't solve the problem. I can help you, but only if we stay calm and respectful. If you continue yelling, I will have to ask you to step back while I get the manager." The man opened his mouth to retort, then hesitated. He hadn't expected Alex to speak like that. There was a firmness in her tone, a boundary he hadn't seen before. At that moment, Alex noticed Mr. Thompson lingering nearby. Alex straightened even more, locking eyes with him. "I'm serious. I need support, or I will handle this myself." The man muttered something under his breath and reluctantly accepted a store credit. Alex handed it over with a calm, measured smile. The tension didn't disappear completely, but for the first time, Alex felt a spark of confidence. They had chosen to stand their ground, and it worked. As the man left the store, Alex exhaled deeply, feeling a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. They had made the choice to assert themselves, to demand respect, and to face the storm instead of running. For the first time in days, they felt in control, not because the store was perfect, not because the manager had changed, but because they had changed. "This is how I survive," Alex thought. "This is how I keep my dignity, no matter what." The store had quieted down after the afternoon rush. Customers drifted out, carts rattling lightly against the polished floor, and the fluorescent lights hummed softly above. Alex leaned against the counter, heart still racing from the day's events. It was now or never. They couldn't keep pretending everything was fine while the manager ignored the obvious problem. Alex squared their shoulders and walked toward Mr. Thompson, who was tidying the register area. "Can we talk?" Alex asked, keeping their voice steady. He looked up, surprised. "Sure, what is it?" His tone was casual, but Alex detected the faint trace of curiosity, or maybe irritation. "I need to talk about what happened yesterday and today," Alex began, choosing each word carefully. "I'm dealing with customers yelling, being aggressive, and you're watching without intervening. I don't feel supported, and it's affecting my ability to do my job." Mr. Thompson frowned, shifting uncomfortably. "Alex, it's part of retail. Customers are always going to be difficult. You handled it, didn't you?" "Yes, I handled it, but that doesn't mean it's acceptable for me or any employee to be yelled at without support. I want to do my job well, but I need to know that management will back me up when things get out of hand." He exhaled and rubbed his temples. I guess I didn't think it was that serious. We can't always control the customers." "I understand that, but you can support your team. A word, a presence, anything. Just standing there doing nothing isn't enough. I'm asking for respect and safety at work, that's all." For a moment, silence hung between them, heavy and tense. Then Mr. Thompson finally nodded, slowly. "All right. I'll try to be more aware. You're right. I should step in more when customers are aggressive." Alex felt a weight lift from their chest. It wasn't perfect, and it wasn't the ideal apology, but it was acknowledgement. For the first time, they felt seen, not just as an employee, but as a human being with limits. "Thank you," Alex said, finally allowing themselves to relax a little. "That means a lot. I just want to be able to do my job without fear of being treated like this." Mr. Thompson gave a curt nod. "Understood. I'll do better." As Alex walked back to the floor, they felt a strange mix of relief and pride. They had confronted the problem head-on, spoken up for themselves, and established boundaries. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. And for the first time in days,
Alex realized that surviving a toxic shift wasn't just about handling customers. It was about standing up, speaking out, and refusing to let anyone make them feel powerless.
The following days at the store felt different. The customers were the same, some polite, some impatient, but Alex noticed a subtle shift in the air. It wasn't the store that had changed, but the way they moved through it. After the confrontation with Mr. Thompson, Alex felt a new sense of control. The tension no longer felt suffocating, it was manageable. They greeted customers, helped with exchanges, and handled complaints with calm authority. And when a particularly rude customer raised their voice, Alex could almost see the fear in their eyes, because Alex no longer wavered. Mr. Thompson began stepping in occasionally when situations escalated, a small but noticeable change. He wasn't perfect, and he still had a long way to go, but at least there was acknowledgement now. Alex also noticed how coworkers responded. Some smiled with quiet relief, others gave nods of approval, subtle gestures that said, "We see you. We respect what you did." At home that night, Alex sank into the couch, exhaustion mixed with a strange satisfaction. They reflected on the last few days, the shouting customers, the manager's inaction, the fear and doubt, and finally, the decision to stand their ground. "I didn't quit," Alex thought. "I didn't let them push me around. I found my voice." It wasn't an easy choice, and it wouldn't always be easy. There would be more difficult shifts, more tests of patience, more moments of doubt. But Alex knew something important. They had limits, and they had learned to defend them. For the first time in a long while, work felt like a place where they could maintain dignity, even in chaos. And that made all the difference. A week later, Alex sat in the break room during a quiet afternoon, sipping tea and letting the hum of the store fade into the background. They felt a sense of calm that had been missing for weeks, a calm earned through hard choices, confrontation, and persistence. Looking back, Alex realized how much they had grown. The yelling customers, the manager's indifference, the internal doubts, it had all felt overwhelming at the time. But now, in hindsight, it was clear that these challenges had taught them something vital. Their voice mattered, and their boundaries were non-negotiable. "I don't have to accept mistreatment," Alex thought. "I can stay professional, but I can also stand up for myself." The lessons weren't just about handling angry customers or difficult managers. They were about self-respect, courage, and resilience. Alex knew that every shift might bring challenges, but now they had confidence in their ability to navigate them. Even their coworkers noticed the change. A quiet nod, a smile, a thank you in passing, small gestures, but ones that reinforced Alex's new sense of strength. Standing their ground hadn't just protected them, it had inspired respect. As Alex straightened a shelf and prepared for the next customer, they felt a subtle, unwavering certainty. Work could be stressful, unfair, even toxic at times, but they had the tools to face it without losing themselves. And that was the real victory. "No matter what happens next, I know I can handle it." Alex smiled quietly, a mix of relief and pride washing over them. The toxic shifts hadn't disappeared, but neither had they. They had survived, they had learned, and most importantly, they had stood their ground. And that's the story of Alex and the toxic shift. A challenging workplace, shouting customers, and a manager who didn't step in. But through it all, Alex stood their ground. What can we learn from this story? Sometimes work isn't just about tasks or schedules, it's about respect, boundaries, and having the courage to speak up for yourself. Standing firm doesn't mean being rude, it means knowing your worth and protecting your dignity. If you enjoyed this story, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life English stories. Practice your listening, learn new workplace phrases, and see how people navigate real challenges in English-speaking workplaces. Don't forget to watch the next story to continue learning practical English in real-life situations. Remember, every shift, every challenge is a chance to grow, both in English and in life.